What if I told you there are engines out there with over 500,000 miles that still run smoother than most brand new cars? Sounds impossible, right? But there's a Toyota 2JZ engine that's been boosted to 1,000 horsepower, drag raced for years, and still starts every single morning without a hiccup. Today, we're counting down 12 cars with engines so legendary, so bulletproof, they've earned cult status among mechanics and enthusiasts alike. These aren't just reliable, they're the engines people swap into other cars, the ones that outlive the chassis, the ones you absolutely never sell, because number 1 houses an engine that's literally unkillable. Number 12, Honda Accord V6, 2003 to 2007. The third generation Honda Accord V6 with the J30A 3.0-liter V6 producing 240 horsepower represents Honda engineering at its absolute peak. This engine isn't just reliable, it's a masterclass in balanced performance and longevity that modern turbocharged motors simply can't match. Paired with either a 5-speed automatic or 6-speed manual transmission, this Accord delivers a driving experience that feels special even 2 decades later. Here's what makes the J30A engine legendary. Honda used forged internals, VTEC variable valve timing on both intake and exhaust, and obsessive tolerances that make this V6 virtually indestructible. Owners routinely report 300,000 plus miles, with nothing more than timing belt replacements every 100,000 miles and basic maintenance. The engine note is intoxicating, a high-revving symphony that reminds you why naturally aspirated engines are superior to turbocharged compromises. The chassis holds up remarkably well too. Double wishbone suspension delivers handling that embarrasses modern sedans, while the interior, though simple, ages gracefully with proper care. You're looking at $4,000 to $8,000 for clean examples, which is absurd value for this level of engineering excellence. These Accords rust in the rear wheel wells, so inspect carefully, but find a rust-free example and you've got transportation for life. The J30A engine's secret? Honda designed it when they still cared about making drivers smile rather than maximizing profit margins. But wait till you see what Nissan accomplished with Inline-Six engineering at number 11. Number 11, Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo, 1990 to 1996. The Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo houses the legendary VG30D-ETT 3.0-liter twin turbocharged V6, producing 300 horsepower, and this engine represents Japanese engineering during the golden era when manufacturers competed to build the most advanced technology possible. This wasn't just a sports car, it was a technological showcase that humiliated European competitors, costing twice as much. The sequential twin-turbo setup eliminated lag while delivering explosive power that still feels fast today. What makes the VG30D-ETT special? Nissan over-engineered everything. Forged pistons, sodium-filled valves, oil squirters cooling the pistons, and block strength capable of handling 600-plus horsepower with simple modifications. The engine bay looks like a spaceship, complex, intimidating, and absolutely beautiful. Yes, working on it requires patience and slim hands, but the reliability is extraordinary when maintained properly. Owners report these engines easily reaching 200,000 plus miles when oil is changed religiously every 3,000 miles. The key is heat management. Replace coolant hoses, upgrade radiators, and these twin turbos will run forever. The driving experience is intoxicating. Turbos spooling, that distinctive VG sound, and power delivery that pins you to the seats. You're looking at $15,000 to $35,000 for clean examples, and prices are climbing as enthusiasts realize these are future classics. The 300ZX's complexity scares some buyers, which keeps prices reasonable for now. But find a well-maintained example, and you've got a turbocharged legend that'll outlive modern performance cars. And speaking of legendary turbo engines, number 10 will blow your mind. Number 10, Subaru Impreza WRX, 2002 to 2007. The second-generation Subaru WRX introduced America to the legendary EJ20 and EJ25 turbocharged boxer engines producing 227 to 300 horsepower, depending on trim level. These engines earned cult status not just for reliability, but for their incredible tunability and that distinctive boxer rumble that sounds like no other engine on Earth. Paired with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive and a close-ratio manual transmission, the WRX delivers driving engagement that modern performance cars sacrifice for comfort. What makes the EJ engine legendary? The horizontally opposed design creates a low center of gravity for incredible handling dynamics, while the turbocharger delivers power in a linear, controllable way. These engines handle boost increases to 400+ horsepower on stock internals when tuned properly, which explains why WRXs dominate rally racing, drag strips, and tuner culture. The sound alone, that unequal length header rumble, is worth the price of admission. Reliability depends heavily on maintenance and how hard the car was driven. Find examples with documented oil changes every 3,750 miles, and these engines routinely exceed 200,000 miles. The key weak points are head gaskets around 100,000 miles, a known issue, but fixable, and ringland failure when improperly tuned. Avoid heavily modified examples unless you know the builder, and you'll have a performance legend that embarrasses modern turbocharged competitors. You're looking at $12,000 to $22,000 for solid examples. The WRX represents affordable performance with genuine motorsport pedigree. But can a turbocharged four-cylinder match the legendary status of what's coming at number 9? Not even close. Number 9. Lexus LS400, 1990 to 2000. The first and second generation Lexus LS400 houses what many consider the most reliable engine ever built, the one UZFE 4.0-liter V8, producing 250 to 290 horsepower. When Toyota launched Lexus, they weren't playing around. They engineered this V8 to be so flawless, so whisper quiet, so indestructible that it would humiliate every German luxury car on the market. Mission accomplished. This engine is the automotive equivalent of a Swiss watch, perfectly balanced, obsessively refined, and built to last centuries. What makes the 1UZ legendary? Toyota tested each engine for hundreds of hours before installation, balancing components so precisely the V8 could idle with a champagne glass balanced on the valve cover without spilling. The engineering borders on obsessive, forged internals, direct ignition, variable valve timing, and tolerances tighter than German competitors. The result? Owners routinely report 500,000+ miles with nothing but timing belt replacements and basic maintenance. The LS400 itself is a masterpiece of over-engineering. The chassis was designed to eliminate vibration completely, the interior remains comfortable after 300,000 miles, and the electronics, revolutionary for 1990, still work flawlessly decades later. You're looking at $5,000 to $15,000 for excellent examples, which is absurd considering this sedan originally cost $35,000 to $55,000 and delivered Mercedes S-Class quality. The 1UZ engine's reputation is so legendary that enthusiasts swap them into everything. Hot rods, drift cars, even boats. Find a well-maintained LS400 and you've got transportation that will outlive you. But believe it or not, number 8 houses an even more legendary engine. Number 8. BMW E39 M5, 1999 to 2003. The E39 M5 is powered by the legendary S62 4.9-liter naturally aspirated V8, producing 394 horsepower, and this engine represents BMW M Division at its absolute peak. This wasn't a turbocharged shortcut. This was a hand-built masterpiece that revved to 7,000 RPM while delivering a soundtrack that makes grown men weep. Paired with a 6-speed manual transmission and near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, the E39 M5 is considered by many the greatest sports sedan ever built. What makes the S62 legendary? Individual throttle bodies for each cylinder, dual Vanos variable valve timing, and hand assembly by BMW's master technicians. The engine block shares DNA with BMW's Le Mans race engines, which explains the 400 horsepower output from naturally aspirated technology in an era when most manufacturers couldn't break 300. The power band is linear and intoxicating. No turbo lag, just instant throttle response, and that glorious V8 howl climbing toward redline. line. Reliability requires diligence. The S62 demands premium oil changes every 5,000 miles maximum, and Vanos units need rebuilding around 100,000 miles. Do the maintenance religiously, and these engines routinely exceed 200,000 miles while still delivering full power. The chassis is equally robust. Cooling systems are the weak point, but address them proactively, and you've got a legend. You're looking at $28,000 to $45,000 for clean examples, and prices are climbing fast as collectors recognize this as the last great naturally aspirated M5. The driving experience is transcendent. This sedan handles like a sports car while maintaining luxury refinement. But does BMW's engineering genius match what's coming at number 7? Keep watching. Number 7. Toyota 4Runner Tacoma 3.4-liter V6. The Toyota 5 VZFE 3.4-liter V6, producing 183 to 190 horsepower, is what happens when Japanese engineers are told to build an engine that absolutely cannot fail under any circumstances. This V6 powered both the Toyota 4Runner and Tacoma through some of the harshest conditions imaginable: deserts, jungles, war zones, and Arctic tundra, and it simply refused to die. This engine earned legendary status not from horsepower numbers, but from absolutely bulletproof reliability that borders on supernatural. What makes the 5V ZFE legendary? Toyota designed it with old-school simplicity: cast iron block, aluminum heads, timing belt instead of chains, easier to service in remote locations, and engineering tolerances that prioritize durability over efficiency. This engine was built for third-world countries where maintenance might be questionable and parts availability sketchy. The result? Owners routinely report 400,000 to 500,000 plus miles with nothing but timing belt replacements every 90,000 miles and basic maintenance. The 5VZFE isn't fast. The power delivery is leisurely by modern standards, but torque comes on low and steady, perfect for towing and off-road crawling. These engines handle severe abuse that would destroy modern turbocharged motors. Overheating? It'll survive. Missed oil changes? Keeps running. Driven hard through Death Valley? No problem. You're looking at $8,000 to $18,000 for decent 4Runners or Tacomas with this engine. This V6 is why you see old Toyota trucks in every conflict zone and remote region on Earth. If you need transportation that absolutely will not fail, the 5VZFE is your answer. But number 6 houses an engine that's even more legendary in enthusiast circles. Number 6. Mazda RX-7 FD. 1993 to 2002. Now this entry is controversial because the Mazda RX-7's 13B REW twin sequential turbocharged rotary engine producing 255 horsepower isn't traditionally reliable like other engines on this list. But hear me out. This engine is legendary for entirely different reasons. The 13B rotary is one of the most unique, technologically fascinating engines ever mass-produced, and with proper care, it delivers an experience no piston engine can match. The sound alone, that high-revving rotary scream, is automotive poetry. What makes the 13BREW legendary? It's a rotary engine, meaning no pistons, no valves, no traditional reciprocating motion, just spinning triangular rotors in an elegantly simple design that revs to 9,000 RPM with silky smoothness. The twin-turbo setup delivers power in waves that feel addictive, and the engine weighs far less than equivalent piston engines, giving the RX-7 incredible handling dynamics. Tuners regularly extract 500-plus horsepower from these engines with proper modifications. Here's the truth about rotary reliability. These engines demand religious maintenance. Pre-mix oil with fuel, change oil every 3,000 miles, let it warm up properly, and don't shut down hot. Do this, and rotaries can last 100,000 to 150,000 miles before needing rebuilds, which isn't terrible considering the performance. Neglect them, and apex seals fail catastrophically. Rebuilds cost $4,000 to $6,000, but you're maintaining an engineering marvel. You're looking at $35,000 to $65,000, plus for clean examples, and prices are skyrocketing. The RX-7 FD represents the pinnacle of rotary engineering, flawed but fascinating, demanding but rewarding. And speaking of unique engineering, Number 5 will surprise you. Number 5, Jeep Wrangler 4.0-liter Inline-Six, 1991 to 2006. The AMC/Chrysler 4.0-liter Inline-Six, producing 190 to 195 horsepower, is one of the most understated legendary engines in automotive history. This straight six powered the Jeep Wrangler TJ and Cherokee XJ for decades, earning a reputation for absolute indestructibility that makes Toyota reliability look fragile. This engine is so bulletproof that Jeep enthusiasts consider it the single best power plant Jeep ever installed, and many refuse to buy Wranglers without it. What makes the 4.0-liter Inline-Six legendary? The inline configuration is inherently balanced, reducing vibration and stress on components. The block is overbuilt cast iron, the head is sturdy, and the simplicity means there's almost nothing to break. No complex variable valve timing, no turbochargers, no direct injection, just simple, proven technology that works forever. Owners routinely report 300,000 to 400,000 plus miles without engine rebuilds, and many cross 500,000 miles with basic maintenance. The power delivery is perfect for off-roading. Loads of low-end torque that pulls Wranglers up impossible obstacles, and enough top end for highway cruising. The engine note is that distinctive Inline-Six hum that sounds mechanical and honest. The chassis around it is agricultural, crude by modern standards, but that simplicity means everything is fixable with basic tools. You're looking at $12,000 to $25,000 for clean TJ Wranglers with the 4.0-liter. This engine is why old Jeeps command premium prices. Find one well-maintained, and you've got an off-road legend that will outlive modern Jeeps with their complicated turbocharged 4 cylinders. But does American iron match what German engineering accomplished? Number 4 answers that. Number 4. Porsche 911 Mezger engine, 2005 to 2008. The Porsche 997 GT3 and turbo models house the legendary Mezger 3.6 to 3.8-liter flat-six engine producing 415 to 530 horsepower. And this engine represents the pinnacle of air-cooled racing technology adapted for street use. Designed by legendary engineer Hans Mezger, the man behind Porsche's Le Mans victories, this flat-six is essentially a detuned race engine that Porsche somehow convinced regulators to allow on public roads. The result is one of the most thrilling, most reliable high-performance engines ever built. What makes the Mezger engine legendary? Unlike regular 997 engines that suffered IMS-bearing failures, the Mezger uses dry sump lubrication and race-proven internals that are virtually bulletproof. The engine revs to 8,400 RPM in GT3 spec with throttle response, so instant it feels telepathic. The sound, that flat-six howl echoing off canyon walls, is worth the price of admission alone. These engines handle track abuse that would destroy lesser motors, then drive home without complaint. Reliability is extraordinary for a high-performance engine. Owners report 100,000 plus miles of hard driving, including track days, without major issues beyond clutches and brake pads. The engine design is so robust that tuners regularly extract 600 plus horsepower with proper supporting modifications. Maintenance requires Porsche specialists and premium parts, but if you can afford the $2,000 to $3,000 annual service costs, you're driving automotive perfection. You're looking at $85,000 to $150,000 plus dollars for Mezger-equipped 997s, and values keep climbing. The Mezger represents Porsche's greatest engine achievement, and enthusiasts consider it the last truly special 911 motor. But can German performance engineering match Japanese bulletproof reliability? Number 3 proves it can't. Number 3, Honda S 2000 F20C, F22C, 1999 to 2009. The Honda S 2000's F20C 2.0-liter inline-4, producing 240 horsepower, or the later F22C 2.2-liter, making 237 horsepower, is the greatest naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine ever built, and that's not hyperbole. Honda achieved the impossible, 120 horsepower per liter without forced induction, revving to a stratospheric 9,000 RPM while maintaining bulletproof reliability. This engine represents Honda engineering at its most obsessive, most uncompromising, most brilliant. What makes the F20C F22C legendary. Honda used Formula One technology, individual throttle bodies, titanium connecting rods, aggressive VTEC profile, and balancing so precise the engine feels like an electric motor. The power band is intoxicating, smooth until 6,000 RPM, then VTEC kicks in and the engine screams to redline with an urgency that makes your heart race. The throttle response is instantaneous, the sound is addictive, and the engineering is flawless. Reliability borders on absurd. Owners routinely exceed 200,000 plus miles with nothing but oil changes and timing chain tensioner replacements. The engine handles track abuse, canyon carving, and daily driving without complaint. The chassis is equally brilliant. Perfect 50-50 weight distribution, double wishbone suspension, and steering feedback that's telepathic. You're looking at $25,000 to $45,000 for clean examples, and prices keep climbing as enthusiasts recognize these as future classics. The S2000 represents Honda's last pure sports car, uncompromising, honest, and built without concern for profit margins. The F20C proves naturally aspirated engines deliver experiences turbocharged motors simply can't match. But does Honda's high-revving masterpiece surpass what's coming at number 2? Absolutely not. Number 2, Toyota Supra 2JZG TE 1993 to 2002. The Toyota Supra's 2JZG TE 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged Inline-Six, producing 320 horsepower, is arguably the most legendary tuner engine in automotive history. This engine achieved mythical status not just for stock reliability, but for its ability to handle 1,000-plus horsepower with minor internal modifications. The 2JZ represents Japanese over-engineering taken to its absolute extreme. Toyota built this engine so strong, so overbuilt, that they accidentally created a tuner's dream that still dominates drag strips worldwide 3 decades later. What makes the 2JZ GTE legendary? The block is incredibly robust cast iron, internals are forged and overbuilt, and the head design flows exceptionally well. Toyota designed this engine to survive Japanese taxi duty at 500,000 miles, which explains the insane durability. The sequential twin-turbo setup delivers smooth power from low RPM, building to explosive top end that still feels fast today. The engine note, especially with aftermarket exhaust, is deep, menacing, and unforgettable. Stock reliability is extraordinary. Owners report 200,000 plus miles with basic maintenance, but the real magic happens when you modify. Larger turbos, forged pistons, and proper tuning unlock 800 to 1,200 horsepower while maintaining streetability. No other engine offers this combination of reliability and performance potential. The manual transmission, chassis, and brakes are equally stout. Toyota built the Supra to handle far more power than stock. You're looking at $60,000 to $150,000 plus for clean examples, and prices are astronomical for turbocharged manual cars. The 2JZ earned its legendary status through decades of dominating racing, tuning, and proving absolutely indestructible. But one engine surpasses even this legend. Number 1 will shock you. Number 1, Mercedes-Benz W123 OM617 Diesel, 1976 to 1985. The most legendary, most indestructible, most unkillable engine ever built is the Mercedes-Benz OM617 3.0-liter 5-cylinder turbo diesel producing 120 horsepower. Yes, I'm putting a diesel on top, and here's why. There are documented examples of OM617 engines exceeding 1 million plus miles, that's over 1 million miles, on original internals. There are 123 taxis in Africa still running after 40 plus years of brutal service. This engine is so legendary, so bulletproof, that it's become the gold standard against which all reliability is measured. What makes the OM617 legendary? Mercedes built this engine during their over-engineer everything era, when quality mattered more than profit margins. The block is incredibly robust cast iron. The injection system is purely mechanical, no electronics to fail, and every component was designed to survive 500,000 miles of taxi service. The engine is agricultural, slow, loud, and agricultural, but it simply will not die, ever. The driving experience is deliberately leisurely. 0 to 60 miles per hour takes about 17 seconds, but that's completely missing the point. This engine prioritizes torque, efficiency, and eternal reliability over performance. The W123 chassis around it is equally indestructible. Rust is the only enemy. These cars feel solid in ways modern Mercedes abandoned for cost savings. Ride quality is excellent, interior quality is timeless, and presence is undeniable. You're looking at $15,000 to $35,000 for excellent examples, and values keep climbing as enthusiasts recognize these as investments. The OM617 represents peak Mercedes engineering, honest, robust, and built without compromise. This is the engine that will outlive us all. This is automotive immortality. And there you have it, 12 cars with engines so legendary, so bulletproof, they've earned permanent status in automotive history. These represent engineering excellence from an era when manufacturers built engines to last, not just to survive warranties. If you love this, check out our video on the most reliable SUVs that refuse to die. You won't believe what we found. Click that now, and remember, some engines aren't just machines, they're legends. Never sell them.